Hi there, this is Mr. Dunaway, and you should have this note template in front of you, and it is Chapter 6-3 using the percent equation. And this is basically another way to solve the same kind of problems. The last work I did with you, we worked with proportions to solve percent, the percent proportion. Well, there's another way called the percent equation, and it's just as easy, if not easier, than the percent proportion. One thing you do have to be able to do is write the percent as a decimal value. Okay, so if you have a percent, okay, percent and divide it by 100, you get the decimal value. All right, and that's pretty easy to do in your head because all you do is move the decimal over. We'll see some examples here in a moment. But this is the percent equation right here, where instead of part and wholes in a proportion, we just can say that the part is equal to the percent, now that's the decimal form, times whatever the whole is. Okay, so in other words, if you multiply the percent times the whole, you get the part. And that's basically what they're telling you right here. See, the percent times the whole gives you the part. Well, we can take that and make these equations really simple to write and solve using very basic equation skills here with a few key words that I need to teach you right here. These words and how they relate to the math equation directly. Now we learned that of usually signals the whole, and that's true. But in math, okay, of means that we can multiply. So for this, write the word multiply here. You're going to want to know that. When you see the word of, that's signaling a multiplication symbol most of the time. If you see the word is, well, is means equals. So if you see the word is, we're going to put an equal sign. And the word what, that means what? It's the unknown. That's the variable, or x, or whatever variable you choose. I'll just put in x because we use that a lot. Now, given that information, okay, now also recall that of is whole, is part, what is the unknown still. All right, but we'll get to that later. For solving these equations, we can just use these key words, and look how simple this is to turn into an equation. Listen, what is 40% of 75? Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to take 40% and turn that into a decimal, which is 0.4. Now what I did is I divided that by 100, if you forgot how, which just moves the decimal 2 places to the left. You can put it in your calculator, but you should be able to do that in your head. You just slide it over. That's what the decimal will do when you divide by 100. So we have to use this value for that 40%. That's the only tricky thing that you need to be aware of. If you use 40 in this equation, it won't work. Once you do that, all right, here's the word what. Okay, if I look up here, the word what meant x. Okay, x. Here's the word is. The word is means equal sign. Okay, so write an equal sign. Now here's the 40%, so that's where you need to use that decimal value, 0.4. The word of means times 75. Now if you want to solve this, x is by itself over here, so all we have to do is solve that, 0.4 times 75, which would give me, working down your page, please write exactly like I do. Down the page, keep your equal sign lined up. X is equal to 30. And that's the answer. Double check it on the calculator. 0.4 times 75 will give you 30. All right, it's that simple. I think maybe even easier than the proportions sometimes. Take a look at number 2. It says find 13%. Well, the word find, think about it, is basically the same thing as what is. Right? What is 13% of 27, which is the same thing as find. So we can treat that just like what is. Right? What is x equals 13%. Now remember, we got to change that. 13% equals 0.13. So you divide it to turn it into a decimal. You have to do that. Of 27 means times 27. Grab your calculator. X is by itself. That's great. 0.13 times 27. We multiply that out and get 3.51. Look how easy that is. And it works with all the equations. Now they're going to change the wording up. as we'll see on the next page. Now make sure you're hitting pause and reflecting on this as necessary to help you remember it, hopefully. Let's take a look at number 3 because the wording changed just a little bit. And something weird is going to happen in this at the end of this question, but no need to fret. Well, here we have the number 30. So we're going to use an equation. This whole lesson is about using the equation. So I don't want you doing the proportion. I know you can do that, hopefully. I want to use the equation. That's what this lesson is about. So I have 30 and I have the word is. 30 equals what means x, and it's what percent, by the way. So when we're done, we're going to be solving for a percentage, times 90. Okay, we have 30 equals x times 90. Well, hopefully you've learned that to solve this, you divide by the thing that's being multiplied by x. Well, what is being multiplied by x? 90 is. So I'm going to divide that by 90, which would give me 1. 90 over 90 is 1. So you have to do it to this side as well. Divide by 90. Now if I divide that, you can just grab your calculator and you're going to get this 0.3 repeating here equals x. Now here's the thing about this. When you're solving for a percent, you must change this back to a percent. Change back to the percentage. So to go from a decimal, it's 0.3333 repeating, you're going to multiply that times 100, and that actually equals 33%. 33.3 repeating is what x actually equals there. Okay, so when you use this method and you're solving for the percentage as your final answer, you'll have to multiply that back times 100. All right, why don't you hit the pause button right here and try number 4. I've worked it out under the shade. See if you can get it correct and come back when you've got it done. Hit pause now. Okay, hopefully you've worked out number 4. It's just like number 3. That's why I asked you to do it here. So here I'm going to reveal the answer. That was the equation you should have written. 15 equals x times 300. You should have divided both sides by 300. You'd have gotten 0.05 as a decimal, but remember you have to multiply that times 100 to turn it back to a percentage. And that would be your answer right there. All right, number 5 says 55 is. So 55 just is an equal sign. 20%, make that a decimal. 0.2 of what number times x? Okay, well, what's being multiplied by the variable? 0.2, the decimal, the percentages. So I'm going to divide that by 2/10. 55 divided by 2/10, work that out, grab your calculator, punch that in, and you will get 275. I hope you can double check me on that. That's what I got. And that's equal to, again, that cancels out, giving me 1x. And since you're solving for the whole in this question, that's your answer. You don't have to do any converting that back to the percentage. Okay, and do me a favor, hit pause again and work out this number 6, and we'll see if you got it right. Hit pause now. And if you are back, hopefully this has worked out. Okay, it's just like the last question as well. Here's what you should have written down first. 24 equals 8/10 times x. Divide that times 0.8. And you get x equals 30. And that should wrap up through number 6 for now. And I'll give you instructions in class what to do with that. Okay, wrap that up, and I'll talk to you soon.